Happy New Year and welcome home. The Blues begin 2022 with a bang as Liverpool are in town. A busy and an important month begins at the Bridge. Kick-off Chelsea versus Liverpool in the Premier League is at 4:30. Welcome and Happy New Year as well from all of us here at Chelsea Football Club. Welcome to Matchday Live. It's a big one. We start 2022 with Liverpool at home in the company of Pat Nevin and Savage Dan. Boys, we good?
Good.
Yeah, good. Very good. Always excited about the new year, obviously. I'm Scottish. You have to be.
You always come in with a positive attitude, Pat, so I like spending the first game of the new year with you. Are you feeling confident today?
Well, confidence may be pushing it a little bit. We've got a lot of injuries, a lot of things going on. But to be fair, I think there's enough good players in that team to really push what will be a Liverpool side that probably 1 to 11, first 11 picked, will be a strong side. But, when it goes beyond that, when you need to make changes, maybe we've got a little bit more strength and depth. So I'm kind of excited that this might take a while, but I still think we're good enough today.
Definitely looking for a reaction from midweek, of course. Chelsea 1-0 at Brighton. Let's have a look at some of those. Dan, it's disappointing because we've done all the hard work really, and to concede a late equaliser. It's more points dropped at home against a team you'd expect us to beat, which I suppose is the biggest disappointment to take away from that.
Yeah, it's been the story of our month or so. We've gone ahead a lot of games and we've tried to see teams out, but we've not put the game to bed, and they always come back and get an equaliser. Could be worse. We could be losing these matches, but again, Brighton's the type of team that you want to be beating at home.
Absolutely right. And Pat, I suppose, there's a couple of decisions in here. Potentially a penalty on Christian Pulisic. There's another incident I'm sure every Chelsea fan on the planet has seen the still now of Callum Hudson-Odoi squaring it and it hitting Joel Veltman on the arm. Things didn't go our way, but ultimately that's 4 1-all draws in our last 5 home games. So that's something we need to address.
Yeah. I mean, if we've been playing terribly in those games, I'd be worried about it. I'd be very, very worried about it. Look, it's upsetting that we don't get the points. Most of these games, we've had most of the play. Now, to be fair, Brighton played well in the second half, and they were much, much better. And maybe some would argue they deserve to get that late goal. I felt quite sorry for the lads, because we didn't give that many chances away in the 4 games you're talking about, the draws you're talking about. But this is a perfect ball. We've got a man in front, a man behind. It is absolutely inch perfect. And sometimes you just, you shrug your shoulders and say you get a bit unlucky. Just that we allow that bad luck to have an effect on us because we're not putting games to bed, and we know we need to do something about that. And that's why Thomas was so angry about the penalties that we didn't get, because that game was put to bed if we get either of the 2 penalty kicks that we should have got in that game. So that's very, very frustrating. But keep on playing that way, keep on making the chances, keep on controlling games, and it will come back again.
I suppose that's exactly it. Dan, isn't it? Pat Salkin there and Thomas Tuchel said the same thing about sort of little moments that perhaps haven't gone our way. Yeah. We've been in 3 of those games that we talk about, the 4 1-all draws. In 3 of those games, we've been 1 up and we've conceded to sort of be pegged back. But I suppose when you are in front, like Pat's saying, you've got to take the initiative and kill the game off. Even if things aren't going your way, you have to find a way. Good teams do. Manchester City did it yesterday at Arsenal. Last minute winner to get over the line.
Yeah, sometimes you need to leave no hope for the opposition and just put 3 past them. Their heads go and all of a sudden you kick on and you score even more. But, even if you are dominating a game, for as long as that game's 1-0, they're only 1 chance away from nicking 2 points of you. And we've been getting caught too often recently by that. We need to create some daylight between us and the opposition.
Absolutely. We've been unlucky as well with injuries. Quite a lot of social media reaction on this. Injuries over the last sort of 10 days or so have really played a point. This on Harby and a Chelsea fan at the moment, injuries and all. I'll take a draw. You got a feel for Thomas Tuchel. I think there's a lot of sympathy within the Chelsea camp for Thomas Tuchel. This one from Matisse, who's a brilliant Chelsea contributor online. Injury-stricken crisis, COVID cases. Chelsea are level on points with Liverpool after 19 games. On top of being one of the 3 teams yet to have a break over Christmas. Mentality-wise, it's a great point. We haven't missed a beat. We've been in every competition, competing on all 4 fronts, still pushing. And this one from Alex Goldberg as well, a very, very big Chelsea contributor online, does some brilliant work, does Alex. So hard to probably analyse this from a Chelsea perspective. There's no doubt we have to win that game, have to capitalise on our chances, more simple as. So acknowledging we only have ourselves to blame is first. How much are injuries also playing a part here? Genuinely asking. That's a good point, isn't it, Pat? Because, it's easy to look at it on the basis of going, we've got a lot of players injury. Another one for Reece in the week. Ben Chilwell's out for a long time. They keep seeming to add up. But ultimately, like we keep saying, good teams, and we are a good team. We're a great team. Great teams get by and get over the line.
And we have done that for long periods, when you've got... But I think we've had injuries in set areas. That period there, we had half the midfield out. We had, Kovacic was out. In a good period of time, Kanté was out. Good period of time, Jorginho was having to play with an injury. And then that all sorts itself out. And then our wing-backs are falling like flies. And you just think, well, give us a chance. And I'm sure that's exactly what Thomas thinks just now. But you have to find a way around it. And the clue's in the words manager and coach. You manage the situation, and he does manage it quite well. And I think he's got enough players there, but there's no doubt in my mind the quality of balls that you get in from Chilwell and the quality of balls you get in from Reece James, to miss them, that's a tough one. We have to find a way around that, but we need to find a way around that. And I look at our squad, and I'm still confident we're good enough to get up there. It's going to be hard to stay with Manchester City, but I'm still very, very confident we've got enough players. How we will feel if we come out of this with 3 points today will be so different, because City are a decent way ahead at the moment. But to be the best of the rest and with a bit of daylight, I would underline that it's not been a bad start to the season, a bad first half to the season.
Absolutely right. Like you said, 3 points today makes a big difference. This is the team that Thomas Tuchel has selected to take on Liverpool this afternoon at Stamford Bridge. Edu Mendy starts in goal. A back three, Trevor Chalobah, Thiago Silva and Antonio Rudiger. Cesar Azpilicueta captains the side on the right-hand side. Marcos Alonso on the left. The two in the middle of Mateo Kovacic and N'Golo Kanté. And in the front three of Mason Mount, Christian Pulisic, and then through the middle, Kai Havertz. What a team. What's your immediate reaction to that, Dan?
It's still a strong team, regardless of who's missing and any injuries and stuff like that. It's still a very good team, So, look, we're not up against a full-strength Liverpool side. They've got, a couple of players missing as well. But we do need to win this or to stop Liverpool, trying to creep off, and then all of a sudden we're looking over our shoulders at who's chasing us. So it's an important game, especially to just put lay your markers down for the rest of the season. Completely
right. And just on that, because you made the point about the Liverpool team, you go through that: Kelleher, Fabinho, Virgil van Dijk, Konate, Milner, Mane, Salah, Henderson, Jota, Tsimikas and Alexander-Arnold. Obviously the key ones that are missing through suspension or illness or otherwise: Alisson, Roberto Firmino and
Robertson as well.
Yeah, and Robertson as well. So like Dan said, there's an opportunity there. Both teams are dealing with injuries and suspensions the best way they can, but on paper, you'd say this is a fairly evenly matched side, wouldn't you?
Because we spend a lot of time watching Chelsea, right? I actually end up going to see Liverpool quite a lot, just with other work that I do. And they're not playing well. They really aren't playing well at the moment, and they're under a lot of pressure. The game against Leicester, they were awful. I mean, they had more of the ball, but they looked leggy, they looked tired, they looked as if they'd gone to the well far too often. I was at their game against Aston Villa recently, and honestly, the second half, they just looked out of it. And, and they're sneaking by some of those games, but they're just sneaking by. There was a 1-0 last-minute win against Wolves as well. Difference between us and them is we've been pegged back and not got that 3 points. A couple of times they've sneaked it, but they've only just sneaked it. So, look, that's a strong-looking team, player name for name, that they've put out. But are they all at the best of form? I'm not sure. And there's one area I always look at when I look at Liverpool, and as you should. Mo Salah's phenomenal. He's an incredible player. However, he's up against a player I think he least likes to play against in any football. I was going to say English football, but any football. He's playing against Rudiger. So 1-on-1 with Rudiger, I'm still backing our man for that one. But it's going to be a tough start, and they will be obviously up for it because it's a big game for them. And remember the other thing, Mane's going to be gone after this. Salah's going to be gone after this. They need 3 points today. A 1 point for them today is awful. They need 3, so they might have to come out against us.
Like we said earlier, like Pat pointed to, and Liverpool had this same situation where I suppose you're concentrated in a specific area and losing players through injury. There it was centre half. We had it in central midfield. Today, to have Mateo Kovacic and N'Golo Kanté starting as a 2 is such a big positive for Chelsea.
That is probably my favourite too. It changes all the time because I loved it when it was Jorginho and Kovacic, and I love it when it was Kanté and Jorginho. But to have our midfielders back is very important. And they've all got different qualities. Kovacic he just glides with the ball. He's press proof. Kanté is just 2 men in one. So that's an area of the pitch where I expect us to have a lot of joy. But there's interesting battles all over this pitch.
Absolutely right, and obviously we're going to continue building up to Chelsea-Liverpool this afternoon. Time now to cross to the boys who are hopefully giving us the lowdown on the team news in terms of up in the gantry for us this afternoon. Jason Cundy and Ben Andrews. Boys, Happy New Year!
And to you.
Happy New Year, guys.
We hope it will be anyway.
What do you make of the team then, lads?
Well, Jay, it's 5 changes. Some we knew would happen. Reece James, obviously. Lukaku, obviously. We weren't so sure exactly what would happen with that whole wing-back shift. Down slightly to the, well, not bare bones, but I noticed Lewis Hall is on the bench again today if he needs some wing-back cover, because obviously without Chilwell and James now, there's a bit of that going on.
Yeah.
No Jorginho to start with. Is that an eyebrow raiser for you?
Played a lot of football. You would have thought, had he been fully fit, he would have played in this game. Tuchel loves to play Jorginho. It's normally Jorginho and one other. Having said that, I do like the midfield. There's a part of that that gives you... OK, the ball retention is going to be different, but energy and drive and some real gusto in the middle of the park. Cover gives you that. And Gullo gives you that, and I think that's what we've got in there. So
but neither of them are bang on fit at the moment. And,
well,
Cover has looked, and I know he's been out for a long time, Cover, but he has looked a touch rusty.
No, you're right. I agree with that.
The Brighton game was one of his poorer games. And if Liverpool get in charge in there with Fabinho and co, you might worry a little bit.
Look, there's worries all over the park. We're talking about a very good side against Liverpool. Their front three, you know, is on its day, there ain't many better. There aren't.
They probably aren't any better.
No, OK, there you go, right, on its day. So you're up against that. They haven't had many of those days of late. Pat made the point in the studio a second ago, and he's absolutely right. They've not been on point.
No, both sides have stopped keeping clean sheets as well, and there's no Alisson in there today.
Going into December, these were the... arguably, with City in there, but the two of the best sides in Europe. Right now, you wouldn't say that. No. Certainly the way that we've been playing, results, we had a bad... let's get it right. We've had a poor December. We've had December off, yet we're second. Work that one out. We can go 4 points clear of Liverpool today they'll have a game in hand, of course. But this is a big game for both teams. But City are the big winners here today. They picked up that late winner against Arsenal, knowing that someone, possibly both, will drop points today. But moving forward, as far as we're concerned, that's a good team we've got there. Look, we all know that the Lukaku situation has been a bit of a conundrum. We didn't expect it to turn up. But Havertz, going into December, I had this conversation with you many times, and a few people. I felt our best 11 going into December didn't have Lukaku in it, had Havertz up top. We play a different way, a slightly more, I would say, fluid way in terms of keeping possession, 1 and 2 touching around the mid-third where we're trying to build attacks. The final third's slightly different. I think we've been perhaps wanting a little bit in there. But in terms of team selection for what we've got, there's a few players in there. I'm looking for some performances. Pulisic, felt for him because he's been asked to do a role which isn't natural to him. He's not a number 9. He's not even a false number 9. He was asked to do a job, and during a difficult period, whether it be COVID or injuries that forced that decision. Today he's now slightly more in a natural position. But you're right, this Liverpool side isn't the strongest. I think both teams. You know what? I think both teams will look at this, go, do you know what? We can both win this, but we'll probably both take a point.
Yeah, we are shorn of a few of the stars, actually, on both sides, obviously, for differing reasons. You'd quite like to have seen Lukaku up against Van Dijk and trying to get past Alisson. I'd have loved to have seen Andy Robertson against Reece James, and neither of them are playing. That would have been good fun to watch. But there you go, 3 changes for Liverpool. Then Milner in for Ox, Kelleher in goal. Test out the kid there, boys. And Kanté is in for Matip. 5 changes for Chelsea with that more fluid front line. We'll see how that pans out.
Good work as usual, boys. Thank you very much. Jason and Ben will be back at first half for give us all the commentary for Chelsea-Liverpool this afternoon. Right, let's do Play Predictor then, shall we? Now we know the teams are out. Give you a little bit longer. You've got until 5 minutes before kick-off to get your predictions in. You can win loads of really cool prizes each and every game week, and also at the end of the season as a big champion. So, yeah, make sure you get involved with that. 5 minutes before kick-off, you got till on the 5th stand-up. So, Dan, I'll start with you. First goal scorer. Sorry, full-time score for you, mate. I
was going to go 1-0, but I'm actually going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay, nice.
I think it'll be a relatively open game. I don't think it'll be as tense as Chelsea-Liverpool can sometimes be.
What about first goal scorer then, Pat?
Do you know, I was so tempted to go for Aspi. Really tempted, because I've been watching him recently. He is desperate to get a goal. He's been getting really close in there. Time and again, he's been really tight to it. But I suspect it'll be Kai. Kai's desperate to come back. no one's been talking about him today. In the build-up to this, not what's been said about our striker who won a Champions League for us. And he's coming back after injury. He must be thinking, where's the fanfare? Well, I'll give you the fanfare. I think he'll be our opening scorer.
Love that. And then possession-wise, Dan, what do you think the split will be today?
I think it'll be even, so I'm going to go 51-49 Chelsea.
Ben's made the point. Young goalkeeper in goal. Test him early. He says, do you think that Chelsea will oblige? Shots on target for you, Pat?
Yeah, and hopefully from the right places, the right players. I mean, I'd love to get a couple of free kicks, and Alonso, because he's on the pitch from the start. If we get some free kicks in good areas, we know Mason can do that as well. But the fact that we've got Pulisic and Mason Mount off Kai, there's a lot of energy there. The other thing about that team, maybe if you look at the back line, Aspie's no spring chicken and neither is necessarily Alonso. They've got plenty of energy there. And then you look at Thiago Silva at the back as well and you think, have we got a lack of energy? No, is the answer to that. Have a look at how Kanté goes by players. Have a look at how Kovacic goes by players. And then you've got the three young, lively ones up front. I kind of like the look of that. And I think it's hard to know where it's going to come from. But I think there's a lot of those players that are going to have a dig at goal early on. So maybe leaving goal out of that, but the rest of them have a right good go. Having said that, he scored a cracker against Spurs, didn't he?
He did. You're absolutely right. Yeah, good work. But make sure you get your predictions in on Play Predictor 5 minutes before kick-off on the fifth stand-up. Let's get some social media reaction then to the lineups from this afternoon. Thiago Silva, N'Golo Kanté starting, and Havertz up top. What a lineup. Come on, Chelsea. I love that, and I always love seeing that. And Tony, really good gift as well. Thiago Silva starts. Mount, Havertz, Pulisic. Let's go, team. We love this lineup. You're absolutely right. And then this one as well. George, you look fatigued. It's Brighton deserves the rest. Yeah, it could be a bit of that. Jason flagged that, quite a lot of football played over the last couple of months. And then Havertz masterclass incoming. Yes, please. All up for that. Match winner today, Kai Havertz. You heard it here first on Matchday Live. It's absolutely happening. Right then, time for the social. Yes, welcome to the social. This is the part where we dive through all sorts of the social media world as the eyes of a Chelsea fan will have seen it over the last couple of days. We start with show and tell, which is always our favourite thing because this is a chance where we get to relive nostalgic moments of our Chelsea past. These are goals against Liverpool, our favourite goals against Liverpool. I need you to vote down below in the comments below which is your favourite. All winning goals, these as well, so all top bracket, high calibre finishing. Dan, you're going first.
I'm going first and I'm going with the king of Stamford Bridge. Didier, the way he takes this ball down, he's facing his own goal. I don't know how he wraps his left foot around this. It's supposed to be his weaker foot. Pepe Reina has no idea. He hasn't seen it until it's behind him. And it's just, a huge goal. He missed the clutch. It's very hard to look past Didier Drogba.
It's an outrageous finish. Half volley on the turn, like you said, weak foot, wraps his foot around it. It's unlike it as well because it's not just power, it's not just precision, it's got both. It's a brilliant finish. I've gone for a man that I think has done the same here actually because this is Mason Mount's goal from not too long ago. Wonderful sweeping pass from N'Golo Kanté. And look, he's got so much to do here, Mason Mount, when he picks the ball. He's got Fabinho, he's got Trent inside him, he's got Thiago, he's got a goalkeeper to beat. Oh my word, he finds that bottom corner. Could not have hit it anywhere else. Anywhere else it either goes wide or it's a save. It's a fantastic finish. Again, wraps his foot around it. Love the Frankenstein celebration as well. Reece James applauding it. Just when you see this reverse angle in a second, just a stunning finish because he has got so much work to do here. So much work, so many players inside him. How many times have we seen a player there as well, screaming for a cutback? He didn't have any help really. He cuts inside and then that lovely finish. Side netting, brilliant goal, Mason Mount. When we needed it as well, 1-0 win at Anfield against a team at that point that were defending the Premier League title. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Pat, you've gone for?
Am I allowed to say the phrase old school?
If you like,
okay. I'll go old school here because Jimmy.
Off.
When this comes to him, do you know what the trick he does? He's still got a player to beat here, but he's calm with it and he finds a corner. But do you know what absolutely mucks up the goalkeeper here? He doesn't leather it. Because we know Jimmy used to be able to batter a ball anywhere. So the keeper's got himself up and ready for a smash. And it doesn't happen. He just bobbles it. The keeper's too high. He's too excited because he's expecting this big smash. And then it just dribbles by the side of him in the corner of the net. It's a great finish. And Jimmy, for him, we know how many times he scored crackers and smashed them into the top of the net. That was an unusual one for him, but a joy as well because it beats Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. 3 brilliant goals. Tell me your favourites in the comments down below. Have you say? I think I don't think I can pick one, to be fair, this week. I think it's tight. I think all 3 have got a bit about them. So let's move on to the trending topics of the week. And obviously, Happy New Year as well. You know, Happy New Year's the first one of 2022. So we're going to talk about it. 2021 was obviously a great year for the football club. We know how good 2021 was. So Pat, then, at this time next year, I've had to write this down because I wanted to get the wording exactly right to be specific for you. This time next year, which player are we going to be talking about as our star player of the year?
That is an incredibly hard question because we have got so many different players who have... I mean, last season I would have said to you, Kai, and I'm tempted to actually say it again because, you know, each time he's done great things for us, but then he's had a number of injuries and he's had to pull it out again. To be fair, it may be him, but it's likely to be N'Golo. Because it's always N'Golo. Because he's always brilliant. And we kind of do take him a wee bit for granted. But he does 3 impossible things in every game. And there's very few players in the world that do that. So I still think it'll be our man N'Golo.
Dan?
I'm going to go Mason Mount. I feel like it's difficult for him to shock us, but he always finds another level. And, you know, just when it looks like maybe we've seen the best of him for now, he finds something else and something else again. So I think another year, more experienced... yeah, I think it might be him.
Yeah? Well, I think that's a good one. What about you then? I'll tell you what then, Pat, let's flip it a little bit. Some sort of a defining moment of the year for Chelsea.
The defining moment is the moments we've been watching. And when Reece comes back from injury, he's so involved. When you think of the players that have been involved for us, you know, recently, and this season particularly already so far, the goals and also the creativity that Reece has actually given to us. And you wouldn't be surprised if, you know, come the end of this year coming, Reece is he's not going to lose the ability to swirl those balls in that are absolutely undefendable. It's not going to go away. He's going to be there and it's going to be back again. And he's another like Mason who's improving all the time. There are some players, and I've seen them through the years, there's been many of them who they get to a certain bit and you think, well, I don't see where the improvement's coming from because they're really, really good. Still see it with them too, then. Definitely with Reece. Yeah. There is more to come. I think there's more goals to come from both Reece and Mason, but at the moment, there's plenty coming from Reece James when he's fit. When he comes back again, he'll have had a little bit of a rest. He'll come out absolutely gangbusters, and it'll be really, really tough for anyone playing against him as this season draws to a close.
Dan, I've got a bit of a different question for you then, mate. Tell me something that definitely won't happen this year. Definitely won't happen.
Do I have to keep it Chelsea?
Yeah.
I give you one
what
before the
definitely
game.
won't happen? We definitely won't come outside the top 4.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was going to go for, but I don't think we'll see Mendy up front. But you know, even though I've mentioned it, but no. To be honest, the top 4 thing's an interesting one because you know that's what we're aiming at. And for a period of time, it was nailed on really.
Yeah.
But you have a look at Arsenal have gone on a little run, even Spurs have gone on a little run, and it's not absolutely, completely and utterly nailed on yet. So let's get this back in a little run of 3 or 4 or 5 games ourselves. I think we're capable of doing that. And that top 4 is, as you say, nailed. And that's the thing that, you know, when you look at the start of the season, for whatever anyone says, that's the number one thing. You need to be top 4, you need to be back in the Champions League, or else win it, obviously. Can do now and again.
We could do that, yeah.
Yeah, but that's where we need to be. So I think that's an important... I think we will. I'm very comfortable we will. But let's go on a little run, so that's certain again.
Boys, I want to get your reaction to this graphic here, which will show you Chelsea's year-end after match week 20. Obviously, second in the Premier League. Look at these, though, here. You know, obviously in 2016-17, we won the league. This is where we were at this point every way through the season. And you see, we're fairly steady in terms of finishing in the top 4, obviously, aside from 17-18, which we know. But look, we were this time last year, you know. We're 12 points shy of where we are, 8th in the Premier League. We're still very much in the hunt. You know, granted, that gap between Manchester City has started to develop. It's obviously grown a little bit in the last 48 hours or so. But, Dan, there's a lot of positivity. And also, you know, rightly so, Chelsea are a big club that compete in the tail end of big tournaments. You know, we talk about Chelsea being a clutch club. You know, when they need a result, it comes up.
Yeah.
You perform well in the big games. There's a lot of big games that happen after Christmas. Very rarely do you see what happened before. So maybe it's just kind of saying we are a second half of the season team when the chips are down and we need to dig in. We do.
Yeah, it's one of those graphics that lets everyone know it's not that bad. You know, we've had a month where we've dropped a lot of points and we've obviously been knocked off the top of the table, but it's not that bad, you know, and we've probably, hopefully, have gone through our bad patch now and we start kicking on, and hopefully everyone comes back at the right time, we hit form again and win the Champions League. That's kind of my prophecy. It happened last season. We weren't great in the same period of the season. Then we pick up. By the time we get momentum, it's coming around to May. Then all of a sudden, you're champions of Europe again.
Dan's got his big coat out ready for St Petersburg. I like it. I like it a lot, mate. Let's go back up to the gantry. Ben and Jason. Boys, I wonder if I could ask you, what do you think the defining moment will be of 2022?
Right, hang on. At this club.
I'm going to fly in the face of the... You can't answer that. At this club, we have been here long enough, all of us, as either fans or employees, or fans and employees, and if I'd asked you this, Jason, on New Year's Day 2021, I mean, it could be 5 shiny pots, it could be none, it could be a new manager, it could be Jose Mourinho's in charge, it could be Conte's back, God knows. You can't answer that question, can you, Jason?
Well, I mean, of all the clubs to try and predict what's going to happen over the next 12 months, or even the next 12 days, honestly, this is the club you do not want to be doing it with. I put a tweet out, actually, on New Year's Day, wishing everyone a happy New Year. We are a crazy club, but I wouldn't have it any other way. We're unconventional. We function somehow under chaos. Other clubs just crumble, but we don't. We manage to rebuild in a very short space of time and have success at the end of that. We're a remarkable football club. Let me tell you now, I wouldn't have it any other way. Supporting Chelsea every day is a journey. It is, honestly. It's just remarkable when you think about what's happened over the last 12 months. No one would have... I suppose you could have predicted... In fact, I did predict it on TalkSport. I said we'd win the Champions League. When Frank got sacked, it was kind of half, you know, in jest, but half kind of thinking, we've done it before, why can't we do it again? And we've done it again.
I will just say this, while Jason thinks of one bold prediction for the new year, I will just say this, I've been working here for just over 20 years now, and in all that time, there has been one season where something wasn't on the line come springtime. That might, in some slightly more fallow years, have been just trying to get into a top 4, but generally speaking, there's a Champions League semi-final, there's a title race on, there's an FA Cup final coming up. It is absolutely incredible. We average one shiny trophy for every year that Roman's been here, and in many of them, it's been more than that. So for one, and that, by the way, was the year that Jose got biffed second time and Gus came in, went out of the FA Cup in March to Lukaku when Costa got sent off at Everton, and out early in the Champions League and were already mid-table in the Premier League. That is the only season in 20 years that Chelsea have not been in the mix for something in April and May, which is absolutely incredible and backs up what he just said. Go on then, give me one bold prediction for 2022. You don't even have to explain it.
Bold prediction, 2022. Well, obviously this means just a trophy this season. Gosh. I tell you what, let's say we get to 2 finals.
I'm going to say 2 cups, 1. Back to you.
Ben, you're my favourite. You always are, mate. Thank you very much, boys. Superb as always. Ben and Jason will be back with you first half commentary. All right, I'm going to carry that on then, boys. No explanation needed. One bold prediction. You first.
Well, I've said earlier on about Kai Havertz, so I think he will be eventually a guy who gets 20-odd goals for us. I'm waiting for it to happen, you know, and it's not quite happened yet, but he'll be the one that goes and breaks that.
Dan?
I'm sticking with it, Champions League. I just think the timing of it might not be here right now, but we don't play again until February in the Champions League. I've just got a weird feeling.
I like that, mate. I like that one a lot. I like that a lot. Right then, time to go behind enemy lines with a big Liverpool fan, brilliant DJ and presenter as well, the brilliant Toby Tarrant.
Hi there, I am Toby Tarrant. I am a radio presenter from Radio X, but much more importantly than that, I am an Anfield season ticket holder, and I'm going to be in the away end today at Stamford Bridge as well. Very much looking forward to the game. So if you were to ask me to sum up Liverpool's season so far, if you'd asked me before the Leicester game, I would have said it was going perfectly. We flew through a really difficult Champions League group, semi-final of the Carabao Cup to look forward to, a nice draw in the FA Cup as well coming up. Unfortunately, that defeat at Leicester means that we are some way off Man City at the moment. So today's a massive game. I'd probably say if somebody loses the game today, they might be out of the title race already, which is crazy to say in January, but that's how good Man City are at the moment. But so far, after the horror show of last season and all the injury problems we had, very, very good season so far. For people that haven't been able to watch Mo Salah week in, week out like I do this season, he has been exceptional. He is playing the best football of his life at the moment. He's always had the ability to score goals, but he's added so much to his game in the last couple of years. And I think everything good goes through Mo Salah now on that right-hand side. He's so strong when you watch him live. I think that maybe doesn't get appreciated enough, how strong he is. And also his defensive work as well. He closes people down, he tracks back. He's pretty much the perfect player for us, to be honest. So thank you very much for selling him all those years ago. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. The other players that have impressed me, Joel Matip's been exceptional this season. Matip has never really had a bad game for us since we signed him on a free, which is mad. We got him for free. He's never really had a bad game, but he has had his injury problems in the past. Thankfully, and touch wood, he's managed to put those to one side this season, and he's probably been even better than Virgil van Dijk at times this season. That's how good Joel Matip has been. And Jota, of course, can't argue with his goal return this season. He's a strange one, Jota, a bit like Salah when he arrived. He's a bit raw, he doesn't maybe influence games too much, but you just can't deny that he knows where the goal is. And he scores left foot, right foot, he scored a load of headers this season as well. So Jota's been an exceptional player for us this season and really helped out when Mo hasn't been able to score the goals himself. How do I see the game going today? If Tuchel's done his homework, the best way to play Liverpool, as Leicester and West Ham have shown already this season, is to sit with a low block, frustrate us, don't let us pick up any momentum, and then hit us on the counter-attack, which I think Tuchel will probably do. The only thing is, as I mentioned earlier, I think both teams need a win today. So as the game goes on, I do expect it to open up a little bit, which would probably suit Liverpool, really. So for Chelsea, they need to score early and then keep a clean sheet. And for us, I think we just need to keep going. Probably accept we might get hit on the counter at some point, but I reckon we need to score 2 goals. And I'm backing us to do it as well. 2-1 Liverpool, Mo Salah to score twice. There's my prediction for you. My favourite moment as a fan watching Liverpool and Chelsea is obviously, and I'm sorry to bring it up, is the 2005 Champions League semi-final, the Luis Garcia ghost goal, as it's now known. Did the ball cross the line? Did the whole ball cross the line? I don't think so, if I'm honest. Do I care? Not one bit. Couldn't care less, I'm sorry to say. And Eidinger Johnson obviously missing that chance at the end there as well. I still don't know how he missed, but I'm very thankful that he did. And then the rest is history. So look, I'm sorry to bring it up, but you guys have won plenty of trophies over the last few years. But that 2005 Champions League was very sweet indeed. So yeah, enjoy the game today, everybody. It should be a belter. All the best. Cheers. Bye-bye.
I was a big fan of Toby before he reminded me of that Luis Garcia goal. Thank you very much for doing that. The brilliant Toby Tarrant, Radio X DJ, presenter, superb work. A big Liverpool fan. He's going to be in the away in today, so hopefully he's going to be quiet full time. Right, boys, let's move on to the quiz, shall we? Okay, you ready for this? So, this is a kind of bidding game, okay? So, I'm going to go ask you a question with multiple answers, okay? So, you have to bid how many answers you can get correctly, okay? So, they're all going to be games that have happened between Chelsea and Liverpool. Big goals, big goal scorers. You have to pick how many goal scorers you can remember from that game. OK? All good?
Okay, go for it.
So let's start with the FA Cup 4th round, 26th for the first, 1997. OK? Chelsea 4, Liverpool 2. How many goal scorers do you think you can name from that game, Pat Nevin?
3.
5 in total, Dan.
See, I think I know I can name 2.
OK.
But I'm not bidding lower.
No, you can't. You can't
So I'm
bid low,
going to
mate.
bid 3.
Well, you've got to go 3 or 4. You've got to go above him. You can't.
I have to go above.
Yeah, you've got to go above him.
Well, let's go 4 then.
Or you can make Pat play if you want. If you don't want to do 4.
I'm going to try 4.
Go on then. Go for 4, mate. 4-2. Chelsea 1. 4-2. Go on.
Gianfranco Zola.
Correct.
Mark Hughes.
Correct.
Is there another Chelsea player on there?
There's one more Chelsea player who scored twice.
Oh, why don't I? Vialli.
Yes. So you've got to get one of the 2 Liverpool players then to win it.
I want to give you this.
Can't give me it, Pat. I'm not having that.
Fowler.
It was Robbie Fowler.
Well
Good
done.
work.
That was my first ever Chelsea memory.
Good
that
work.
game, 2-0 down at half-time.
That's a hard-earned point, mate. You can have
is.
that one. OK, so you've got the first lead as well on this one. Champions League quarter-final second leg, 14th of April 2009, 4-4. How many goal scorers can you name?
For such an outrageous game,
How many goal scorers were there?
7 goal scorers.
this is the one where I'm not sure. But I'm going to go with 4 goal scorers.
4. Can you go 5, Pat? Or do you want Dan to name his 4?
Out of 7.
Out of 7.
I'll try 5.
Yeah, good work.
I've no chance.
Dan, are you going to be above 5 or is that you done?
No.
5 goal scorers. Go on then,
done.
Pat.
If there's not a Drogba in there, we may as well
There
chuck
is a
it.
Didier Drogba, correct.
And you've got to go Lamps as well.
Lampard got 2, correct. So there's
okay,
one more
right.
Chelsea goal scorer and 4 Liverpool goal scorers.
I'm going to say Fernando Torres scored that night.
He didn't. No, he didn't. No.
That was my game changer
So,
because
Drogba, Alex, Lampard 2. Lampard scored in the 89th minute to put us through an aggregate. Fabio Aurelio.
oh no, we got that.
Xabi Alonso, Lucas, and Dirk Cow. Okay, final
That
game.
was hard. That was hard. The count one.
Okay, I'll tell you what, boys, it's all done. You finished anyway. You finished it. Dan, good work. 2-0.
Well
Good
done,
work.
well done.
Time in for the warm-up. Last one was a tough one.
That's exactly what they're all doing out there in red and blue. Lots of interesting factors in terms of the team selection for both here. They're just looking for a few clues. Well, not that they're doing anything in shapes yet, but I think we know how these two sides are going to play. We have our 3 points for 3 points today. I'm not going to ask Jason about a fast start. What I am going to ask you about, though, first up, Jason, is a bugbear of all of us, I suppose, any fan of any club, but specifically here, getting the second goal, Jace. Being one up and being in charge, especially because this is Liverpool. If Chelsea do get off to a good start and are a goal up, you know, they basically always score, Liverpool. Leicester shut them out. That was the first time since March of last year, in the same week that Chelsea won at Anfield, if you remember, and then they lost to Fulham as well when they were going through that run of losing every home game and not scoring. That's how long it is since Liverpool have been shut out, back to March. So, because almost certainly one goal isn't enough to beat Liverpool today.
No, and I mean, just take Liverpool out of this equation for a second. It's been an issue for us. Actually, it's been a problem for us in terms of taking games away from the likes of Burnley, for example, Brighton, Everton. I mean, you know, there are a number of games that I could lean on this season, and they're the ones that just spring to mind of late, that we've not got that second goal, and we've been incredibly wasteful. Ben in front of goal, incredibly wasteful. But it's been an issue for us, not just this season, but last. You know, under Frank, there were games incredibly wasteful. Under Tuchel, incredibly wasteful. You know, and not being able to get the second goal. You and I have done this for many years ago. The second goal doesn't kill the game. What it does, it changes the game. It gives them. Therefore, the opposition have to change the way they approach it. One goal, you're always in the game. You know, one goal, you can always find a way to get yourselves back into it. 2, you have to change eventually. It depends what the minute is. But even at 2, you get the next goal in the game, you're back in it. And we've not been able to take games away from even going from 2 to 3-0. We're not great at that either, and that's been a problem for us. And against teams like Liverpool, it's a bigger problem that is against teams like Brighton or you know, Burnley or even Everton, you know.
This is true, and of course what has been the case for so often since Thomas took over is that actually quite often, funnily enough, one has ended up being enough. It's just of late.
Well,
it's not that Chelsea are actually scoring any fewer at the moment, it's that there's been one Premier League clean sheet in the last 8 Premier League games. That Wolves 0-0 is the only clean sheet in the last 8, and that is the thing. If we move on to the second one, then we talk about Liverpool's danger. Clearly, top scorer, 22 goals this season. Finding a way of stopping Mo Salah. And do you know what, driving here today, Jason, I thought about a couple of games I've seen here where Tony Rudiger has shut him down one way or another. And I don't know, I mean, obviously it's a team effort to stop a world-class player, but talk to me about finding a way to stop Salah.
Well,
what might Tuchel have thought of?
Well, Salah is there is no doubting his numbers are astonishing. They're ridiculous. And he has taken Liverpool to the next level. He has been a massive part of why Liverpool have achieved the success, both in Europe and domestically, certainly in the Premier League. How do you stop him? Well,
he did a good job at Anfield, I thought.
Well, it becomes a collective. You can't just go to one because he is so nimble and so fleet-footed. And he creates opportunities from nothing. It isn't just a one-man job. It is literally a back three, a back five, a midfielder getting something in, put him under pressure. You have to challenge him from every single angle to stop him getting away. Because what he can get in, I think he's probably the best I've seen in a long time in the Premier League. In fact, wherever. In tight areas where you think he can't get out, he does. He finds a way. And it ain't luck, because he manages to just dink one here, and he's strong. When he first arrived here, Ben, from Basel, physically, you look at his shape now compared to what he was. He's a different animal now. Physically, he is a beast. For the size that he is, and he ain't a big lad, but he is physically incredibly strong, and he holds off challenges. Yet when he chooses to go down, because he's so strong, he can now pick and choose when he decides to stay on his feet and go down. He's such a good player.
And Mane, who we're seeing there, I also think the same. For someone who looks slight-ish, I find he's incredibly difficult to knock off the ball. He'll get a bump, but he'll keep his balance. It's a team game.
I saw him against Southampton many years ago now. John Terry was playing. He was outstanding. He put us to the sword. He scored a brilliant goal. It was a chip goal, I seem to remember, down at St Mary's. And at that time, I remember thinking, we could do with someone like him, and Liverpool went in and took him. And since then, he's gone from strength to strength to strength. He's gone from being an average, or what you perceive to be an average Premier League player in an average team, to going on to being a world-class team to a world-class player. And Liverpool took the gamble. I remember thinking, we should go and get him.
29 million quid, I think it was. Just on that, for those of you who remember, it's a game, Jason, I often remember that game when he scored for Southampton, because Matt Targett got away with fouling Cesc Fabregas, and Jose went berserk afterwards. Anyway, final point in our 3 points for 3 points. Right, the C word, concentration. Thomas Tuchel has been so up on precision, and the winning of the Champions League, for me, was down to the incredible concentration and discipline at the back, just stopping teams from threatening Chelsea last season in that run-in. If ever there's a game where you can't dally, where you can't switch off for a second, it's against this front line. You saw a team who've actually been playing really well, generally. Arsenal, just a few weeks ago, they switched off a couple of times, they dallied on the ball, they got absolutely murdered, because this is a team that will just... They're so ruthless, aren't they, in punishing errors of concentration. So, and of late, the reason we're bringing this up is of late, that concentration has just slipped a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
In those games you've been talking about, Burnley, Man United.
Yeah, and I
Brighton, Everton.
I think what we're looking at now is, we're now looking at a little bit of fear, because it's becoming a pattern. Where before we never used to concede goals, then we started conceding late goals, and now... regularly we're conceding late goals, Ben. It's now a thing. And when it becomes a thing for both teams. One, defensively, you're aware of the fact that you are conceding late goals, and it becomes an issue in the dressing room, and you talk about it, and you try and rectify it, and it becomes a thing. let me tell you now, the opposition will be only too aware of it. Keep going, because you know what this team will give you. And what that does, it gives the opposition encouragement. And the longer it goes on at 1-0, this goes back to the original point we were just talking about getting that second goal, about killing it for them, about taking things away. It changes. But ultimately, Ben, you're talking about, the kings of Europe right now. This is a side that have done it. We've got to somehow get back to that. But we're up against a brilliant front three. I spoke earlier about Mane, about how I saw Mane, about being that player that we should go. I didn't see this in Jota. I've got to tell you, mate, whoever scouted Jota and saw this player, maybe they got a bit lucky and he's improved. And maybe it's not the right word. They've seen a player and they've improved that player. But you never know what you get. Sometimes you get a player and you think he's underachieved. Sometimes you get a player, he's overachieved. I think Jota's one of those. He has gone on to levels that I don't think anyone could have predicted.
We're going to talk Christian Pulisic in just a moment, but before we do, analysis time. Callum Hudson-Odoi, who is playing for the 20th time in all competitions this season, mostly starts. Here's one we made earlier.
A lot of talk about Callum Hudson-Odoi over the last 3 or 4 weeks, about some of his performances. And some, perhaps, there could be some room for improvement. So, what is Callum good at? Bags and bags of pace. Once he gets in behind your back four or back three, you're not going to catch him. Nice composure on that occasion against Norwich. Again, really sharp in behind Matty Cash. He and Alonso linked up really well in that first half. So, brilliant ball in for Lukaku, begging to be hit into the back of the net, just lending it in there. But this is what he's also good at, travelling from the deep third right through the mid-third into their final third and causing real problems. Now, what's the decision? Way to pass, excellent. Decision, excellent. Well played, young man, getting that part of it right. And again, decision-making. Once he's in behind you, you're not going to catch him. Now, what's your choice? A pass, beautifully weighted. Again, begging to be put into the back of the net. He can also pass the ball as well. Again, really good first half against Aston Villa. Follows his pass and continues to make an extra body in the box. But he's 22 years of age, and at that age, you're still going to have inconsistencies about your game. Should really put this game to bed earlier. It's a good save from Martinez, but should finish it early in the game against United. Big moment, even though 3 or 4 minutes in. If that goes in, we probably go on to take all 3 points. And again, against Brighton midweek, decision-making. Can he get the pass right? He doesn't. Could he go on his own? Probably. But at 22 years of age, those mistakes are still going to be in his game.
So, yes, Callum Hudson-Odoi, just looking at those couple of missed finishes there. If you're talking top level, Jason, this is his 20th appearance it'll be today when he plays. Almost all of them are starts, by the way. And this term, as opposed to last season, when he played last season, Jason, more often than not was a wing-back. This season, more often than not, he's been playing in the front three. He's scored 2 this season. If we are talking about him going to the next level, like Mason Mount has, he's got to up that tally, hasn't he? I know he's not principally in the team for scoring goals, but anyway, do you not want to Callum on, 6 or 7 by now rather than 2?
Yeah, look, I said it in that piece there, that Callum has parts of his game that need to improve. And at 22, there isn't a player on the planet that has parts of his game that needs to improve. Probably the best 22-year-old in the Premier League right now, Declan Rice. He goes from strength to strength. He's not the finished article. No one is the finished article. Mason Mount is not the finished article. No one is at that age. But what you want to see is progression. And I think there has been progression under Callum. There has been progression. And I think it's been difficult for him because he's been asked to play a number of roles. He's been asked to do different jobs. And at times, I think he's done those jobs very, very well. But what you want is consistency. And consistency at 22... it's hard to find unless you're talking about an incredibly brilliant young footballer. And, you're talking levels of maybe Mbappe or Messi or someone like that. And I think we forget his age. We've got to be patient with him. But at a club like Chelsea, patience is something which is hard to come by at times. When you get into those areas, like he did against Manchester United and like he did against Brighton the other night, those moments there... And
that Villa game...
Yeah,
like you say, he could make the game safe there, snatches at his shot.
They're big moments, and he has to learn from that. And we're not seeing that right now. But what we might see, and hopefully we will see over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 and however many years, is that we'll see those little deficiencies in his game change. You and I might even talk today, Ben. We might talk about a hudson-odoi chance when it appears, or something in a big game, in a big moment, he delivers. And those are the things that will make him the player that we all genuinely hope that he's going to turn out to be over the next decade plus. And don't forget his age. He's still young, and he hasn't played a huge. Forget how many games has he played compared to Mason. You know, I reckon Mason, I don't know the numbers, but I reckon Mason's are very, very much higher.
Oh, triple, almost exactly. Now, can we say the exact same thing, because he's the exact same age, about Christian Pulisic, our one to watch for today? Another one who you kind of still feel you want more from him.
Yes. Again,
or is that unreasonable because he's only 22?
Or again, the
same boat.
Same rules apply. Same rules apply. A big price tag. In fact, huge price tag. Again, I think slightly injuries have affected him. If you remember, under Frank, when he came back, he had a couple of, wasn't quite in the team and in and out, and then he had a really brilliant end to that campaign, and you know, in the FA Cup final.
Well, from restart, actually, when he came back in.
He was, honestly, you and I were here for the Man City game where he picked up that when he saw Mendy dallying on the ball and he recognised there was a hesitation. Finished it, big moments in big games. That was right there. That's what I'm talking about with Callum. And then he tore his hamstring against Arsenal in the FA Cup final on that shot, which went wide. But hasn't quite delivered what we would have hoped yet. Again, guilty perhaps of managerial change, jobs being asked to do him of a different role. What is Pulisic? Who is Pulisic? What is his best role? He plays in a 3 behind him right now. He's played up top. I feel for him because he's not a natural number 9. He's been asked to do a job, and he's got to get on with that job to the best of his abilities. And it's tough because he's seen Lukaku out, he's seen Havertz out, he's seen Werner out. There is no other choice, and he's been asked to do that job, a difficult job. Look at the size of him. Physically, you've got to play a game in a different way. So therefore, you've got to change your game. What's his game like with back to goal? It ain't great. You know, that's not his game. He likes to receive the ball side on, where he can see the whole pitch. That's where he is excellent, where he can see the picture changes. When you're playing up top and you've got your back to goal, all you see is your own goal. You see the pitch in front of you, which is where the opposite direction to which you want to travel. And that's not him. He likes to be on the front foot. He likes to gallop into spaces. He likes the best that you see from Pulisic is where he sees their goal. And playing up top, he doesn't see their goal at all. He doesn't see it, and he sees a different picture, and it's unnatural to him. And he hasn't quite got the tools at the moment at this stage of his career to adapt and to be a different player. As soon as he came out wide against Villa, totally different player. Sees the pitch differently, sees the whole pitch from a wide angle, but he can still see their goal, and that's what he likes to see. He likes to see their goal so he can affect their back line. That's what he's good at.
Well, today we think he'll probably be up against Trent Alexander-Arnold, so that could be a key battle in keeping him back for a start, with Havertz and Mount as the rest of the front three. And we're going to hear now from the man who picked that front three. Here's Thomas Tuchel.
Good news that you said that Thiago Silva's back in training. How is he, and how's Ruben Loftus-Cheek progressing?
Ruben is not back in team training today, so it will be a close one. Thiago is, hopefully with no reaction, and that he's available for Sunday. We have some other players out and some others to evaluate still what's going on, to understand what's going on, and who will be available.
I know you've spoken a lot recently about the respect that you and Jurgen Klopp have, mutual respect, but this feels like it's another big game to look forward to, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, always against him. When you face teams from Jurgen, Dortmund or Liverpool, you know what you get: energy, commitment, and a lot of quality. And you have to stand up against this energy. We proved it already. We will be ready for Sunday. Of course, it's a big match. It's second and third place against each other. The situation is what it is at the moment, but we will be ready for Sunday, and we need every single spectator on top level to create an atmosphere where it's possible maybe to overachieve and beat Liverpool, of course.
As we move into the new year, Thomas, it's almost, I guess, easy to forget just what you've achieved throughout 2021. How do you reflect on the last 12 months?
Not so much. I'm not the guy to reflect. Now my thoughts are like the thoughts back are go to Brighton game, and the thoughts ahead go to the Liverpool game. We have the second most points in Premier League in 2021. We want to have the most points. Yeah, there is still a huge gap of 20 points in these last 12 months. So there is still a hell of a lot of work to do for us. But there is no need to feel like we're on the wrong direction and on the wrong way. If you go on a long journey, sun is not always shining. It's heavy rain at the moment, maybe icy rain. So go through it. It's worth the trip and it's worth the effort. We are strong and we will bounce back strong.
Thomas Tuchel there, speaking ahead of Chelsea-Liverpool this afternoon. Welcome back, Jason, and Ben will be back for first-half commentary shortly. Right now, though, let's do it in case you missed it. And John Terry already proving his insight is invaluable at the football club. This is Josh Hart, the NBA player we've had on the show before. Do players in the Prem get fined for yellow cards? John Terry, yes, £7. That's nice to know, Dan, because I know that you're...
I pick up those £7 fines every other week or so. I think they might have even gone up. I can't remember if they've gone up, but yeah.
At least I've got something in common with John Terry.
It, you know, you get a yellow at any level, you've got to pay your £7. That's it. Or you don't get picked.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to have something in common with him, definitely. Yeah. And also, this is really cool because obviously it was quite foggy against Wolves. But have a look at this. On Christmas Day 1937, during a football match between Charlton Athletic and Chelsea, Charlton goalkeeper, having seen no action for some time, was approached by a policeman and told that due to thick fog, the game had been abandoned. And it had been called off 15 minutes earlier, but he hadn't heard the whistle and couldn't see anyone because it was so foggy.
That's incredible.
Concentration levels are unbelievable.
That is quality.
There,
he was just ready for any. He didn't even know where the shot was coming from, but he was ready to save it. That's quality.
Perfect. That is unbelievable. That is really, really good. And this as well. We're all staying obviously very safe in the Matchday live studio. You can see all the protocols here as well. We all did one of these before we come in today as well. A lateral flow.
Hey.
You like that as well. Torrente Flow. What an absolute legend. Obviously departed the club this week, wishing him his best luck in his new role over in Norway, which he's very excited about. But yeah, what an absolute legend that man was.
Legend.
And finally as well, obviously a little bit of an injury crisis recently. Not quite as bad as Dundee United had. The club have registered assistant manager Dave Mackay as a player. They will be on the bench this afternoon. Straight in, Dan.
It's a dream.
That's why you brought your boots for you. I've seen them outside.
That's a dream. I've got boots in the car everywhere I go, just in case I get a late call up.
And in fairness as well, the bench, the Chelsea bench and the players they've got around them, Jason and Pat have still got a bit about them as well.
Of course they have. You know, Pat's still got the pace that he had when he was younger, and Jace is still, you know, as aggressive as he can always be.
You never lose it.
Bring him on.
Yeah, absolutely never lose it. Get one of them vests on and they'll be absolutely love that, wouldn't they? Right, let's get some pre-match thoughts then from fans outside the ground.
All the way from Jamaica, what result are you expecting today?
Probably 3-1 Chelsea.
Goal scorers?
Havertz, Mount and Pulisic.
Chelsea fan, I know it's bad, but I reckon Mohamed Salah's going to go 1-0 up in the first half, and I reckon we're going to claw it in 2-1.
Considering Liverpool's all their COVID crisis injuries, we should get at least a 2-3-1 victory, hopefully. But without Lukaku, it might be a little struggle.
Analytical perspectives from outside the ground, Dan. I think there's a sense, New Year, obviously, Chelsea need a result today, but it's also one of those where you go, you know it's going to be difficult, you're ready for a big one.
Yeah, you could sense it out there. Everyone's anxious, you know, everyone's very safe. There's no 3-0 Chelsea shouts. Everyone expects a tight game, and given our recent form, I think people are sceptical as to if we can hold off Liverpool for long enough, but we're always in it. We're always in it.
One of the first games as well where rail seating has been introduced. One of the first clubs to take this up. So for the first time in a long time, sort of safe standing inside Premier League grounds, which is great because, you know, atmospherical, as long as it's safe, and that's obviously the key perspective, as long as it's safe, it brings a different dimension to the atmosphere, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've not actually had any stand-in stadium experience, so I'm interested to see what it's like, but you need one, you know. When all the stadiums that do have it, that stand is a big part of the stadium and the atmosphere.
Absolutely right. Let's get some more reaction then, pre-match to the team news. Matteo, Kanté and Georgie, Aspi, Thiago, Chalobah. They know what it means to fight for Chelsea. I trust them to do their best. Absolutely right. Yeah, of course we do. We trust in every single Chelsea player. This I like. Conte masterclass pending. Always a masterclass when that man's playing football, isn't it? Massive game for Chelsea today. Need the 3 points, and the players on the park are good enough to get the job done. Well said, Jason. Yeah, very well said. Obviously, all the build-up continuing now, and not too far away. Chelsea take on Liverpool here in the Premier League. 2022 starts with a bang, and it's coming your way live next on The Fifth Stand.